Hello and welcome to the video. This I thought it would be fun to share. This is something that I've done over the past couple of days, and it's one of those things that personally gives me a lot of enjoyment in the hobby. Now it's about this thing here, the OMPHobby ZMO VTOL. I did a review of it quite a few weeks ago now, and there were a number of limits to it, but this one is particularly around putting weights in the nose to get the centre of gravity spot on. Now, all of us pilots are built different, so something that I really enjoy, you might not, and vice versa, and there's always another part of the hobby that could be fun to explore, or maybe you've tried, and personally for you, it doesn't float your boat. But one of the things that I really like is fixing stuff and designing parts to address a specific issue. Now, the specific issue I'm talking about for this one is the fact that you can only get the centre of gravity in the right place with this particular VTOL craft if you have a GoPro in the nose. Now, it actually comes with two different noses. One is a standard blank plate and the other one is designed to take a modern GoPro. But I don't fly with GoPros. I don't think GoPros support the hobby, so I'd prefer to spend money on action cameras from people like Cadix, RunCam, Insta360 that seem to be more aware of what we need as pilots and are building some of the things that we need into their latest cameras. So I thought, well, hang on a minute, maybe I can kill two birds with one stone. Now, until now, the way I have got the centre of gravity in the right place with this particular VTOL is by installing this little packet of two 18500 batteries. And those two batteries weigh about 78 grams. With that 78 grams in the nose, with the blanking plate at the front of the whole thing, it's balancing fine. However, there's an optional plate that goes on the front that's designed for that GoPro. So I thought, well, this is a bit of a crazy situation. I'm having to make sure that I always have two 18500 lithium ion cells and this little pack around if I ever want to fly this thing. Why don't I make something that's going to hold the weight in the nose that will give me the centre of gravity, and I can use these 18500s for the things that I bought them for. It's rather an expensive way to put weight in the nose of this model. And then I thought, well, hang on a minute, if we have this other nose for the GoPro, I could also potentially print an adapter for the Peanut camera. The Peanut camera is currently probably my favourite little action camera for the hobby. It gets used all the time here. And then I thought, hang on a minute, I can kill two birds with one stone. I can print an adapter that will go in that space and allow me to put the blanking plate on if I'm not flying, but also allow me to pop in the Peanut camera in place as well. Now, this is exactly the kind of thing that can take a happy 3 or 4 hours on a day, and I can just get immersed in the whole thing with a 3D printer going and everything. So, first thing I did was figure out the fact that I need 78 grams, and I weighed the Peanut camera. The Peanut camera only weighs 28 grams, so that leaves me 50 grams of dead weight that I need to take up in the adapter. So, I measured the outer dimensions of the Peanut camera. I measured the dimensions of the space inside the front of the thing, fired up SketchUp, and designed this little case with the pieces at the bottom large enough so that I could put some metal weights in there. Now, unusually for a 3D printed piece, the first one I designed fit beautifully. The camera fits in it and it fits beautifully into the nose. Now, popping it on the scales with the camera in, I found that I had to add another 30 grams of weight into the adapter, and then the adapter with the action camera installed gets me pretty much back up to that 78 grams that I'm shooting for. Brilliant. Now I can use this Peanut action camera with my OMPHobby ZMO VTOL model. And then I thought, well, hang on a minute. There's going to be situations where I want to fly it without the Peanut in it and the other nose on. So then what I need to do is now design another part that's going to take the place of the Peanut that's going to weigh the same 28 grams. So back into SketchUp, designed a Peanut blank, if you want to call it that, and popped in an extra 20 grams of metal weights, and that got me back to the target weight again. So now the model has a peanut adapter that can live in the nose behind the blanking plate, and when I want to use the peanut in it, I can swap the front cover and replace the dead weight for the peanut space. I can actually put the peanut in there instead, and that means that I can fly with both. Now, as I said, this is part of the hobby that I love tinkering with. I get a huge amount of enjoyment out of problem solving like this and making things for the models that I have here. Now, I could have done it old school. I could have cut a piece of balsa, I could have cut a piece of foam and just stuck these weights in, or just stuck the weights onto the back of the space that there is at the front of the nose. But I like the idea of making everything removable, so if I ever did want to use a GoPro or this was passed on to somebody else, they had the ability to use the camera that they wanted. Now, I have shared these files on my Thingiverse page. I'll put a link down below if you want to have a look at them. And I've also put a link down to my 3D printing series down below as well, which kind of explains how to design simple parts like this and how to actually run a 3D printer, and it's aimed at radio controlled pilots. I hope you're finding similar things like this to keep you sane during the bad weather where we can't fly, but I just wanted to share this as one of these kind of fun little projects that you end up doing where you kind of have an idea and then you start tinkering and you end up with something that you can share with other pilots. Thank you for spending your time today watching that video. You can find me in all the usual places on social media, and if you're trying to learn about a subject, then check out the playlist. All of my videos are organized into easy to follow playlists that if you're trying to learn a topic will take you from the basics right the way through to some pretty advanced stuff.